So, once again, welcome to another Lunch and Learn with the Illinois Prison Project. I'm your boy, Ronaldo Hudson, Director of Education for the Illinois Prison Project, and I'm joined by some of the most amazing people in the world. And I just really want to take the time to center the voices of some of the most powerful advocates in this work that oftentimes are used as symbols rather than actually experts in the work that they actually do. And this is why we're so excited to begin this conversation. And I really want to read this because I want to be really accurate. So bear with me, those of you all that's just used to me just running my mouth. I don't want to center me, I want to center the work. This Lunch and Learn is designed to move beyond symbolic inclusion and have honest conversation about what it means to truly center women in the prison reform spaces. Too often, women, especially formerly incarcerated women and organizers and mothers and survivors and women of color, are invited into rooms as optics, emotional labor, or storytellers without equal decision-making power, protection, visibility, or resources. I want to challenge that pattern directly. The goal is to create a meaningful discussion around leadership, accountability, equity, healing, and the importance of building reform spaces where women are not symbols heard, but structurally centered and consistently. Too often in prison reform spaces, women are expected to carry the emotional weight, organize the details, hold communities together, and survive systems that are never built with their safety in mind while still fighting to have their voices treated as equal. Today is not about tokenizing women leadership, it's about recognizing that many of the strongest movements for justice have survived because women carry them when others do not. That being said, welcome to this month's Lunch and Learn. And I want to talk to our guests. I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience and we can get into this conversation. Like, I know who you are, but would you introduce yourself to our social media world?
Okay, I can start. My name is Nia Frazier. I am such a proud mommy. I have two girls, and I'm a dog groomer, and I do some acting. Both are passions of mine. And I think one of my most hopefully influential passions is the advocacy work that I do. It's so rewarding. It's just it almost feels like a cheat because like it's instantly gratifying. So not always, but you just meet these people and you see that you see their wheels turning. You see that sometimes some of the things that you're saying make an impact, and then to see them in other spaces at other times and see them starting to do things, it's dope. So that's a little bit about me. I'm great. I'm happy to be here. It's great to be here.
My name is Anna Navarro, and I'm a double system impacted criminal life survivor. And when I mean double system impacted, I have survived both the criminal and the federal system with immigration. But outside of that, I'm also an advocate with that, and outside of that, I'm an advocate in all type of spaces, and that has to do with against any type of incarceration, and also just changing systemic oppression within even your own families.
Hmm.
And I advocate and try to guide family, friends, and myself through that. And I am an aunt. I am a proud dog mom, and I am also a mother too. That unfortunately, being in system impacted, cut it short. But I'm still her mother, and I'm just a person that likes to empower anybody that's in my life in any way I can.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for inviting me, Ronaldo. And good to see you at starting the day with you too. Extra special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wendy Clenard. I had a small not-for-profit. I would say interdisciplinary company since 1999. I've been rooted in the Pilsen community for over 35 years. I run a creative space. My kind of practice is flamenco, but that's like a jumping off point to having conversations in blues, to having conversations in tap or with painters. And so I've always had that sense of co-creating, creating together. What do you have? This is what I have. And we have used historically rhythm and verses and history to kind of merge those. I've worked with just as impacted artists. And we use a lot of those kind of tools of the rhythm and the movement and the sound to tell stories. To present moment, working with PNAP at Logan Correctional, co-teaching with Alice Kim and Naomi Ra.
I'm curious, one of the questions, and this is not in that list of questions, but it just popped in my head, so I just want to ask it. What makes you, one, want to do this work? And why is it important that you do this work as leaders and not just as add-ons to conversations?
Well, I've been dancing my whole life and dancing in community. Well, my whole life, at least for about 35 years. And I remember reading Alice Walker's Overcoming Speechlessness.
Mm.
And she was able to say in words, I got that like kind of goose pimple moment, is like, yeah, dancing together is a powerful nonverbal act of resistance in communal healing. It allows individuals to connect to their body, and there's nothing like connecting with the body and then what's left over. A lot of times the leftover is that joy. It's powerful. Those women are powerful. Their wisdom is it's expressing in their body and their writing and everything that they're doing.
I'm directly impacted, and so I feel I would be doing a complete disservice to our society to not do this work.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting, I guess, the way you asked that, why not just be add-ons in the room rather than the leaders? And I'll be honest, I sometimes am okay with being an add-on because the end goal is for policy change. It's for us to see a difference. And so any way that I can contribute to that difference, I want to be in the room. It's dope to be the leading force and for people to hear the full story maybe from me, but as long as I can help out, I'm willing to be there.
Yeah. Anna, talk to me.
Me, it's more like I was uneducated in a way that led me to be in the spaces, being incarcerated and dealing with all that stuff. And I feel like I overcame both obstacles, and I should use what I went through and help other people navigate both systems that I went through, because a lot of people don't come out here, don't know what they're navigating, don't know how they can fight. And the only people that can really guide you in that sense is, I feel like it's us, the people that went through it, because we know what we're going up against. We know how it feels to be in there. So
Hmm.
we we know all the emotions, the hardships of it. And again, like with me also, because even though I'm not in IDOC no more, I still have people in there that are my family, that I
Hmm.
chose to call my family, that are still in there. And in my heart, I can let them be left behind. I can't forget about them just because I'm not in there. We're human. We're not robots where we're like, oh, out of sight, out of mind. No, our hearts are still in there.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I do want to nudge you a little and dig into this a little more because I appreciate it. And that's the thing why I think it's so important to center women, to be honest. You said something that I very rarely hear guys say, which is, you know what? It's okay to be an add-on, right? Because that's not how I feel. I'd be like, excuse me, let me up in here, right? Because I got some stuff to say, and I think it's important. And that type of both sensitivity and like heart to really want to do the work is something that rarely gets talked about and gets centered, which makes me even feel even more stronger about why women should be leading more, because there's this sense of community that, for whatever reason, has been beaten out of a lot of us, but yet we see that strength still in the women. What emotional, organizational, and survival labor are women carrying inside reform movements that often goes unseen, unpaid, or unrecognized?
Don't think that it's just reform movements. I think it's society as a whole. I, I was just having this conversation earlier with a girlfriend of mine,
Hmm.
and I talked about coming home and feeling claustrophobic in a grocery store, regardless of the size of this big grocery store. You're feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm on my own. Am I okay? Do I need to be asking for permission? Like, all while being a mother, being a wife, everybody, you come home and all of the responsibilities that you had before you left, and then some, in some cases, are thrown back on you without the consideration that you're going through a lot mentally, physically, emotionally. There's
Hmm.
so much, I think, as women, um, that we have to deal with, that is, it's just expected. It goes unnoticed because, again, that's the expectation. Society has just become so accustomed with the mothers being in a certain role, taking care of the children, also in a lot of cases working. And then when you have the inclination to be in these spaces, that's another thing on your plate. So that's that's how, what I think, what I feel. I mean, even, and I'll throw out there right now too, because my husband and I don't really do daycare or anything. I am, as we speak, watching my daughter in the other room on the camera.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's a lot.
yeah. Talk to me, Anna. Like,
I feel like everything Dania said is correct, and to add on to it, it's more like also because we are seen as the woman as the ones we are the ones that end up in a lot of spaces, are the ones that hold up like the minute details, like the less inconvenient ones, like ordering the food or setting up the cleanup or even setting up the space and organizing it, because that's what's expected of us because we're the household person. So we're the ones who make it homey. So that's what expected from us. We're the ones who are greeting the people and making checking in on everybody and making sure everybody's accommodated, because that's the role that's already given to us because of who we are
mm,
seen as, and that it shouldn't be like that because
yeah,
we're not, we could hold other spaces, but that
yeah,
is some of the roles that go unnoticed, that we're the ones who are making sure there's enough food, there's enough cups, there's enough whatever, everybody has whatever they need, they're okay in the space as they're walking in. We're the ones who are seeing how somebody's movement is and gestures because we've seen them already in other spaces, so we're already emotionally checking in with them to see if they're emotionally able to be in that space, that because that's what's expected from us.
yeah. No, I really appreciate that. And just for the record, like I can't get away with being in a room and be waiting to be served. Like I would get mine hand to me. No, I ain't even finna try that one. Because I do think, and I agree, that it is this expectation, from tradition, custom, etc., the way in which people have been conditioned to move through in the world.
I don't feel like we, as in what I've experienced as an ambassador and holding space with IPP, I can, and even some other organizations to an extent, I feel like we do best in not holding structure like that, because we have said it, like it doesn't matter how long you've been an advocate, how long you've been doing that. If you're just starting now and wanting to get your story, learning how to get your story out, you have the power to get it out there and be part of the movement. It doesn't matter because you have other experiences and other skills, and with the sensitivity and stuff, using that, honing that to work on it and being empathic to others, other parts of of what we're fighting for. And I could say that. I mean, there are some places that just don't see that, don't hold that space where they're like, okay, yeah, they just got out, but they don't know there's no the ways like we do it and other people should do it is use that and hone that. Look at what skills they do have because obviously we develop skills, especially being in the system. We develop skills because you have to advocate for yourself in there. So we already have skills of being advocates and going and stuff. So it's more like honing it in, showing that to the people that are getting in the space that you have the experience already. You've been experiencing and doing this work already for yourself.
Mhm.
You're just now extending it and making it bigger to cover other people.
Thank y'all. Y'all are amazing. So here's my next question. What is the difference? And we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I just want to center it. What is the difference between being invited into a room for representation and actually having power, influence, protection, and decision-making authority inside the room? Like I think, and I just want to frame that. It's to me, it's so easy to be like, hey, come in here and let me tell you who you are, versus you come into the room with the power and the authority of saying who you are yourself.
It's a big difference because I've like right now when we started this, we got to introduce who we are as a person. You didn't say, hey, here's Anna and here's Nia, and they're just advocates. They've been to system. No, we were able to hold that space and talk. In other spaces, we don't have that. They ask you to submit a short bio that then they decide how much of it they're going to say because you want to add like the part that we're not just advocates, we're mothers, we're this, we're sisters, we're wives, whatever. Like that doesn't get added on. Like we're just the short, direct. This is why they're in this space because they survived the system.
Yeah,
No, that's not just who we are. And so there is a big difference in being able to come in and say who we are than to being told who we are.
yeah. Ooh, that
Mm.
gave me goosebumps. Like,
Sometimes, I think we're probably, there's not a soul not guilty of this. Allow time for something to roll out. I'm not a verbal person. I speak much better in different realms. But so it might not all come out as in other people's tempo.
hmm
But also it taught me how to just wait a second. It's coming. The male domination in structures is deep. So like we've all been had in a way. I mean that for everybody, right? So allowing someone to roll their story out. If it's quote boring, whatever that means, let it roll out.
Again, my experiences have been different. And so no one has ever attempted to tell me who I was. And I feel after so many experiences inside and so much
hmm
trauma and all of the things that we've been through at in this season of my life, you will not tell me who I am. And so if I just seeing this, if I'm in a space where someone tries that, I will, in the most elegant and classy way that I can, redirect and let it be known who I am. So yes, there is a difference, but I just feel that right now in this social climate, in this political climate that we're in, it's dire for us to to take claim to who we are, to make
Mm.
these chances. So yes, there's a difference, but people are only going to allow, or are only going to do what you allow them to do, and they're only going to treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. And we no more of that, whatever that is. No.
Yeah. No, that is so powerful. Thank you. And I heard you. I heard you. Like, yeah, I don't want none of that heat. And
You're
so
so silly. I don't mean to get worked up, but it just happens.
no, it's okay. I promise you, this really is a safe space. This is our space, y'all. You hear me? Like we're the real family. We are. I just want to say that we're family, which means we talk, and I want us to talk candid and honest, while being professionals because we're all professionals, right? But to that point, what does healthy male allyship truly look like in prison reform spaces? And how do men move beyond performative support into real power sharing listening?
They need to study you because you're the definition of that. That's all I
Ooh,
can
yeah.
say. I
Thank
mean,
you.
in all honestly, like I've seen it a lot with you and how you hold spaces and you bring people up, and no matter if they're man or woman, like you bring the best and positive of anybody in there. Like you see the positive and you build it and you see their skills, and that is the one way to do that. Like knowing how to share space, knowing how to uphold each other. And I feel like, well, because I'm this, I'm the one who talks, and it's gonna be my way. No, it's what do you think? How do you feel? How can we make this better? And I even saw that with my cohorts. With it, because obviously we changed the dynamic with my cohorts, with it being predominantly, well, mostly all women. When prior to that, it was mostly male, and we navigated that with the men, and we shared and held space, and they were so very gentle in hearing us and guiding us as much as we were guiding them too, because it's not just also the men guiding us, it's us guiding them too, because we got to work together.
Well, I'm going to start answering that by how you set this up, respect and honor. So what does that mean to that person, that if we stay in this idea of the men, but what does that mean to any of us?
Okay, so I will give you your props. I'm gonna piggyback on what Anna said. Yes, shout out to Ronaldo. You are dope. But then back to just my way of thinking, it's just I see the idea, and yeah, you embody the things that entail, like just true compassion, a sincere heart. The end goal is something that's comprised of all of these wonderful things, like quite similar to Martin Luther King Jr. and everything that he wanted. I think just more on the line along the lines of reform. And you do that, like you even talked about so graciously, like wanting my daughter to come and be in the space, and the way that you talk about family. Yeah, if said person or said male has these same characteristics, well, boom, that's it. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's what we all want.
I do want to say thank you for the compliments, but I promise I take my lead from Jessica, our program manager, and
Mm.
Caitlin. And y'all know it. Like they ain't no joke. They're some of the smartest people that I've ever
Oh
been
yeah,
around. And while I
mostly.
hold the title, like they're real leaders in the space. And if anybody don't know that, just watch because they'll tell
Mhm.
me, "Hey man, tighten this up." And I'm saying that to say I'm a better representation of who I am because I listen to them and they guide me. It's not one way, I promise. We are trying to practice eyeball to eyeball leadership, you know, and that has been instilled in me by the leadership of women. And I want to name that out loud. So while I appreciate, like, thank you, because I eat that up. Thank you, and wonderful. And I need that too, right? But I would be foolish and just bogus to not acknowledge that I represent the way I do because our team fight hard that we respect the voices of the women. So I just want to throw that back just for the record. Like, and y'all work with Jessica directly and Caitlin directly, and y'all know I'm not just saying some stuff. So I just want to throw it back out there like that because that's the real part. And that's what makes it easy for me to say, let's center the women. So thank you. I have one more question. And then okay, if we are serious about transformation and abolition and decarceration, what specific structure changes must organizations make right now to ensure women are not simply participating in movements, but helping design, lead, and sustain them?
Yeah, there possibly needs to be a complete restructuring. We need to erase everything that we've done and have conversations. That's where it starts. We all need to have like a meeting of the minds so that we can, from square one, see how to, I think, like go at these different situations where everyone is heard.
I feel like with that, a lot of us can change it as women with what we're doing, like with what me and Nia are doing right now, and other people is holding these spaces, putting ourselves out there, talking, being that voice and everything. Because I have seen a little bit of the change, just because it has been normalized where only the men are telling the stories about, I just got done, I got out and I'm fighting the system and I got to beat it because after serving all this time and all these years. And a lot of women do not come out because either they don't know that they can hold a space, or they're intimidated because of the space, because it has always been masculine led in a
Mhm.
sense. But it has been changing a lot, and we are the change. We can keep pushing it by showing them that they can, and not gatekeeping it, not just holding it on to ourselves. It's letting other women know and other people know, hey, you're able to come into these spaces and hold this and speak up, because your story is as important as the next person's story. You have enough influence to change something, and here you go. Here's the mic. Speak from your heart. Speak from your experience. It doesn't have to be professional. You,
Mhm.
it's what you feel inside, what you went through, and those are the most impactful stories.
Mhm.
And that's one of the ways I see it, that we can start changing it, is by putting them more out there.
Wonder too, um, upon someone's release, maybe these organizations can come up with a way to better reach each person, because there are
Mhm.
so many of us that come home and we have we don't know what our resources are. The
Mhm.
resources are there, but you got to know somebody that knows somebody, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't be that way either.
So I really appreciate us having these conversations. This is only the beginning, so I will be tapping y'all real soon for something else because I just love the brilliance just being shared. But I would ask both of you, and either you can go first, if there's something that you just want to share that we haven't, that literally I didn't ask, and you just want to leave uh, our community with, what would that be? If it's something you're doing, if it's something you're thinking, as the brilliant person that you are and the advocate that y'all are, please speak now, forever hold your peace.
I mean, to what you last said though, I feel like, well, mostly Nia said with with reentry
Hmm.
and stuff, and the connections and stuff. I feel like we can give sources, like we said, but like you had touched too, we need that help. Like it shouldn't be just, oh, here's a pamphlet of resources. Hey, let me go with you to go get your ID. Let me go with you to go do whatever, if you have to do a registry, because that's even more intimidating. Let me go with you the first month to go get groceries, to go to Walmart, to figure out what kind of underwear you want like now, because you have a variety to choose from that you didn't have to choose before, like, and that's overwhelming, and they don't understand that it's not just re-entry in a sense, like here's some resources where you can go get your free ID or this and the other. It's like,
Hmm.
how do I handle going and buying groceries for the first time? Like, I don't remember how to know which avocado's ripe or not. I don't remember how to tell which lemon's gonna be nice and juicy, which is gonna be dry, which how to like. And that's one thing I went through. I couldn't remember to save my life how to do that stuff, and I had to ask the ladies at the store, like, "Hey, can you help me?" Like, and that was even more overwhelming, and I felt embarrassed. And I know that's part of
Mm,
it. And I feel like a lot of that is doing being too with putting your story out there comes with embarrassment because people have made you feel embarrassed of what you went through.
mm,
Or
yeah,
yeah, even your family telling you, "Oh, forget about it. You went there, you served your time. Why do you want to speak up? What is the point? Just move on. Act like you
mm,
never went to prison." No, because I went to prison, I am the person who I am today.
yeah,
I have these experiences. Let's speak up about it. We can't just ignore that we were there for 13 years.
yeah.
Um, One thing that I am always thinking of and that I am so passionate about definitely is our kids. You know, they're our future, and we really have to focus on nurturing them. And so when they have parents that have been incarcerated, the thought shouldn't be, um, like, oh, that's sad. They'll be all right. Or let's take little Jimmy to get a pair of sneakers once a year. No, like the thought needs to be, let's build policy around
Mhm.
like the cultivation of these children's minds. I just can't stress that enough. Like it's rough out here right now. It's scary. So are we gonna sit here and complain about it? Or are we going to make sure that these children achieve the greatness that they have inside of them, that they're capable of? I'm always thinking about this. So
Yeesh. And with that,
yeah, I feel
more
very strongly about that.
and with that, more spaces like that we hold should allow some, obviously with the age, depending on the age too, to for the kids to be there because they suffer with the parents being locked up. And they know what it is to have a parent locked up and all the things in the hardships. They're the next advocates. They're the next people that are should be holding space because they have their stories too that might influence and change a lot of these policies. And a lot of places don't hold that space, and they should too.
No, I appreciate that,
Yes.
and that's a thought for maybe a lunch and learn. Like, how do we talk to the future advocates? So, like, y'all like think about maybe y'all might want to host one. I'm just
Okay,
saying, like
we
come
can
up with
do.
something and send Jessica an email because I think this is how we do the work. And like the more we can step back and someone else can step in, then we're showing the example, right? And y'all are alumni, like y'all forever part of the team. So I'm just putting that invitation out there, right? Jessica would have to approve it, right? But so don't be like, yeah, you said I could just do it. But no, but I'm serious. I really love y'all and I so appreciate you. And like you made me think about like how we don't do enough to educate people coming out as well as the kids. I'll tell y'all this and I'll shut up. When I came home, one of my big things was I wanted Captain Crunch cereal. And so a friend gave me this big box of Captain Crunch cereal and I bought a half a gallon of milk. And I was so excited and I put it in the refrigerator. And then I started like running, like I was just doing a bunch of events. And by the time I actually slowed down, maybe a week or so later, right, I went in the refrigerator and I'm like, ooh, and it popped in my head. I got this big old box of Captain Crunch. And then I went and got the milk. And to my surprise, something that I hadn't had to think about for so many years is that simply because you put something in the refrigerator don't mean it won't expire. And that milk had expired. And something that the average person out here probably take for granted, stuff will expire simply because that's what it do. But I didn't know that. Even as a 56-year-old man at the time when I came home, I was like, wow, it's so much we have to be reintroduced to. So imagine if we don't, to y'all point, educate the kids what they have to struggle with. because we're not connecting them to the information. So I love the idea of us opening up space. I want to encourage that conversation, even if we have to do it in person, right? Let's figure out how to do that. I'm all in for that. Thank you. I love y'all. I appreciate
I
y'all
love
for
you
being a
too.
part of this Lunch and Learn. I love y'all. That's it.
Love
Love you
y'all.
too.
Thanks for having us.
Wendy, I really would love if you would one remind people where the studio is, where our community space is that you're in, right? Because I do think it's important that the community know that we have a space that loves the energy of our people and it want to invite everyone in to share their beauty. And that's one of the things that I love about you, that you're always wanting to invite and include everyone, which made me want you to be a part of this conversation. I love you so much. But if you would, like, where are you located?
18 in Halstead, on the northeast corner of that intersection. And yeah, we have two floors, upstairs and a downstairs studio. And any night of the week come by, there's something going on. And like I mentioned earlier, part of the space is underwritten. So that kind of came from listening. Hey, I don't have a space to go. Hey, I have a little bit of grant money to do this project, but shoot, rent's expensive. So, it's like, can be anywhere from $5 to $15 an hour. Come do your project, do your class, do a small in-studio showing.
No, thank you. So
Infectious, that
do you,
energy.